Good night. It is I, Carrie V. Dean, bringing you yet another rant from A Dullard Speaks. Tonight, I am still going over in my mind how executive orders being signed to already existing policies to either cut out or overturn portions of the policy that this new administration doesn't like is somehow considered the president himself making a policy. Hmm, that's still a worrisome thing. Throughout his whole campaigning, he never once explained any policy that he might have because he couldn't. And he couldn't because the only plan he had was to come in and overturn anything that the Democrats caught favor with the people with. And the Democrats do the same thing. So let's not get it twisted. They do the same thing. Each president that comes in tries to overthrow what the last president did or amend it so that it's more favorable to what he's doing in the office. Um, and that's what Trump's doing. Okay? A little sleight of hand, a few executive orders here or there, and then all of a sudden the policy that was made under the other administration is totally bad. But the only problem is the administration that was under the other president. It's the same administration that's under him now, um, with one or two new seats that were added and picked up. Um, so it it really doesn't jive that he's made any policies. He signed a bunch of executive orders, as I said, that has really shaken up things in the federal side of the office there. He's fired more people since he's been in office in less than 3 months than any other president coming into office. Um, there's always going to be some firings, especially people that don't jive with your policies or so forth. Okay, that's all understood. Okay, the price of doing business in America, because that's exactly what our presidency has turned into. It is a big conglomerate corporate office, and the Supreme Court just handed President Trump all but one key to the kingdom to do as he wish with. And it's sad because even they can't come back now and try to control him because they're the idiots that gave him this vast amount of power in the first place. So be upset about it? Heck, can't be upset about it now. Everybody will know the corruption that you were involved in order to get him into the position he's in. The only thing I can say about our founding fathers is the Supreme Court was their loophole to get the Richie Riches out of any situation that they got themselves into. And it's absolutely worked, and Trump just exposed how it works. So let's stop getting things twisted. We're not talking about policies here. We're talking about executive orders that were written to be mean to the American people, to punish the American people for being the people we claim to be. Inviting to all and supportive of all. Isn't that the lie we sold to the world when first trying to colonize America? I believe so. But have we lived up to it? Uh, Not so much. And the word people was sort of guidelines to imply, mostly talking about men, um, women, children, minorities of any kind were not considered in the bargaining when it came to developing the Constitution. Because the Constitution was written for people like the people that were framing the Constitution to suppress the rest of the people that were also here in the U.S., whether they came by force or through servitude, which is still a form of force and oppression. So there you have it. And the people that necessarily came to America weren't the best people to begin with. And as they came to America, they broke off into at least 10 or 12 different splinter groups of the very religion that they were running from in England. So, if that's the narrative that you want to be the prominent one, then tell the truth. Stop lying like they were non corrupt people that came over. Please. Every person that was brought over here on the Mayflower had some form of corruption in their hearts. The indentured servant wanted to get out of servitude. They were promised, if you get us, once we get to America, you work for us for a few years, we release you of your debts. Not very many of those people were released of their debts. Many of them died, and it wasn't until their second or third generation in America before it was considered a debt paid in full. Um, and that was only because more immigrants were starting to be attracted to America. You had your Italians, you had other European nations with their eye on the prize over here. You had your Swedish, you had your Dutch, your Germans, Jews, Africans that were wealthy. Um, Lots of other wealthy people from around the world. China, all wanting to get in on the promise once we formalized and became an actual governed people. Everyone was wanting to get in on the gravy train. Slave trade was free and open across all the nations of the world. Human trafficking, what was that? No, no, no. It was just good trade. The poor people that we're tracking all around the world for labor. Oh, no, that's just good trade. People are a commodity too. And that's the story that never gets told. And that's the story that they want to continue to bury. Sure, this country got built off the labor of their indentured servants and slaves and lesser than, as they call the people that were non whites. But white men drove it. Yes, you did. But in taking that credit, you also have to admit how you did it. That you can't do. That you can't stomach. The powder puff people in our nation now can't stomach the fact that ugly things were done to make America great. Again, you keep saying policies, policies to make America great. All I've heard is slogans, slogans. Have yet to have any transparency on any policy that Trump is talking about because he has no policies. All he has is a to do list called Project 2025. And a bunch of signed executive orders to enact and implement the outcome of the to do list of Project 2025. Therefore, affecting and effecting the policies that govern the American people. So, he can't even explain that to you. No, there are no policies. He hasn't sat down and written an actual policy with this is why I'm overturning this decision. This will be the new scope of what I'm going for. This will be the outcome. Here are the solutions to the possible outcomes. He has not done that work. He has not sat down and thought about how it would his effect would affect the American people. So, I don't understand why his administration aren't getting the message that you're going to have protests, you're going to have major protests, as more of the hate monger idiots start to wake up and realize that, hey, the policies that they thought they were following that you had weren't, well, what were they again? Oh, that's right. He never mentioned any policies. Anytime he was asked a question about a policy, he ran. Took us all down the line about what the Democrats didn't do and this, that, and the other, but he never offered any solutions. Drill, baby, drill is not a solution, as you're seeing now. So if you're running off of his policy of drill, baby, drill, that was never going to happen, because the part of the lie that he didn't speak out loud is that a lot of our energy and so forth in the northern part of the eastern board is coming from Canada. Oh, it's reaching out into the Midwest. Um, and some of the other upper states of North America. Think about that. Let's think about that for a second. Why do you think we finally annexed and had Alaska be a part of the northern U.S.? Oh, that's right, you forgot. Oil. Oops. So we can control the oil, the pipeline from Alaska. Okay? Anything that's going to drive their profit margins up, they're trying to annex, incorporate somehow into America. This has always been the plan of the Republican Party. How do we get more power? We're power hungry monsters. We have to have more power, more power, more power. We could care less about the poor people. We could care less about anything else. But, oh, yes, we're repealing abortion because it's killing a life. Well, what have you done by repealing abortion in today's climate of poor economics? Again, tariffs aren't a policy. Executive orders for tariffs isn't a policy. It is an enactment on a policy that was already written. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm a dullard. I shouldn't be trying to explain civics to you people. If you had been paying more attention in class, you wouldn't have voted for this man, because you would have realized he still hasn't answered our question: what's his policy? Or what's his policies going to be? Or how is he going to get this nation back on track using tariffs? No, you didn't care about any of that. You heard the word tariffs and went, oh, go with it, yeah, Now that it's happening, you see what the repercussions can be. He didn't come in and tell you the repercussions would be X, Y, Z, and Q thrown in there just for a little booster. He didn't tell you any of that stuff. And the reason why the rich and powerful hate poor people, because poor people live off of common sense with what little education they could afford. Rich people live off of the pie in the sky dreams and build more pie in the sky dreams and have useful, wistful lives, not understanding that they have nothing if the poor people ever stop worrying about getting what the Joneses have and going for the grass greener on the other side and would just look at what they have. And what we have is pretty powerful because we have the power to topple corporations. We don't have a lot of money, but what little money we have, we can start spending it towards our own, going within our own communities and shopping. Not shopping across borders, not shopping across lines, not shopping anywhere, but within our own communities. Farmers, start selling your products to the locals. Start having the big farmer markets. People will come, especially after the prices that are going into the grocery stores. Canning companies that can goods. Start selling on the open market to directly to the people. Stop going through supermarkets. Okay? Let the American people buy in bulk directly from you what they need each month. Oh, you'll see better profits. Because, as the one truth that Trump did tell, yeah, the way our government was going, it was failing. Tacking on more new supermarkets and more new ways to market the supermarkets was only making the rich richer. It wasn't helping the poor save money or anything else. The Dollar Tree came out, and the first thing they did, they weren't even in business for a couple of months before the prices went up over $1 on some products. And that was out in California years ago. It finally caught up across the rest of the U.S. Uh, when the Dollar General first started. The Dollar General never claimed to be a dollar store, but they had a lot more dollar products. But guess where the dollar products were? Cookies, ice cream, potato chips, candy, um, some canned goods. Some coffees and stuff. Yes. But for the most part, most of their stuff was above $1. Well, when I say above $1, they were still under $5 back in the day. Huh? Try buying anything in a Dollar General today. That's less than $5. Oh, forget it. You can forget it. Can't be done. So, can again anyone explain what policies are you crying about that he's not doing or he's not utilizing the correct way? What what policies? Because all I've heard is a bunch of executive orders and how they have affected the policies that were in place and undermined them to the point that stock market's crashing again, grocery prices are up again, almost triple what they were before he came into office. because they were coming down. The prices were actually coming down. When you go back through all the legit news people that want to still kind of seem semi legit, haven't erased all the good press that was going on under Biden. Um, about our economy and where we were at versus where we are now in less than 3 months of him in office officially. It just blows the mind. I didn't agree with a lot of stuff that was going on. I definitely um, thought that President Trump had a point about the border being closed, or at least not being run full blast. Okay, um, that wasn't happening. That was the lie part. The border was open underneath his first term, and he didn't close it. What he did is went in and created such an ugly scene. He had to pull back on what he was trying to do because he was going about it the wrong way. And when someone tried to correct him, he just stopped it altogether and then hung all his dirty work around Biden's neck and left Biden to have to clean it all up. Biden started getting it all cleaned up. He went, whoa, wait a minute. No, that's going to help Biden. So he told the good Republican senators and Republican representatives to hold back on voting on a band-aid to the problem. A band-aid was better than nothing at all, but he chose nothing at all. And when Biden came in, he had them still holding up on not doing anything about the border. And Biden was too soft, it's the only word to use, to be a bully and use an executive order to force Congress to come up with a solution. And that's why the Dems lost. Because too many times they went soft. Because guess what? They're hiding truths too. So all this two-party crap that's been going on for these last few years, I've been burnt on both sides of the aisle, Republican and Democrat. I'm a black woman in America. There are no sides on my side. So I have to get my own side. And on my own side, I say, y'all have to do better. Okay? There are better ways to go about getting the outcome that Trump wants to have without causing all this chaos that he's causing. Chaos only brings trouble. And trouble is not what he needs right now, as he completely has us in a defenseless mode, and we're selling quick to hell in a handbasket, as he once said. Oh no, he's pushed that, he's accelerated that. He's accelerated it beyond measure. So, on that note, thank you to whoever is listening out there. And please comment. Let me know, what are Trump's policies that everyone keeps saying that they voted for him? What were the policies? I missed them somehow because I never heard a policy come out the man's lips. Good evening, good night, and a good morrow to everyone.